From a Pennsylvania barber helping kids find their voice, to Bronx seniors taking over social media, to a teenager who jumped into a flood to save strangers, we've got the stories that'll restore your faith in people and remind you how much good is still out there. It's Friday, November 14th, and this is the Feel Good Flyover. Hello and welcome to the Feel Good Flyover. I'm your host, Amy Hess. This is the show that slides into your weekend and helps restore your faith and leave you a little more hopeful before the week starts. So let's get right into it and get ready to fly a little higher. Sometimes the simplest ideas can make the biggest impact. At one barbershop in Pennsylvania, kids aren't just walking out with fresh haircuts. They're walking out a little taller, a little prouder, and a little more confident. The barber behind it all is Jonathan Escueta, founder of City Cuts Barbershop in Kutztown. His program, featured by over a dozen national and local media outlets, is called Books by Kids, and it lets children earn $3 for reading out loud during their haircut. What started with just $50 of Jonathan's own money has grown into something far bigger. Jonathan was inspired by his time coaching youth basketball, seeing shy kids who could talk easily off the court but struggled to speak up when it mattered, and by a 7th grade teacher who once encouraged him to read aloud, helping him overcome the same fear. After learning that nearly 3 out of 4 adults fear public speaking, he decided to help build confidence early. I sat down with Jonathan earlier to hear how this heartwarming idea got started and how his program is doing far more than just teaching literacy skills.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Escueta. I'm founder and owner of City Cuts Barbershop in Kutztown and Macungie, and we're here to talk about our Books by Kids program.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for being with me today and talking to me about this amazing program. Tell me more about the moment this idea was born and what you see in kids that made you want to do something different.
Well, for me, it started while coaching youth basketball from 5th grade all the way to 8th graders. They were very, very shy on the court, but off the court, they were like laughing, giggling, talking, no problem. But then we seen, when it's time to play the game against other teams, they were very, very shy and were very afraid to communicate plays or certain things on the court that's going to help them as a team. So what we started doing was we made them mini coaches where we chose a player like once a week to tell their teammates the game plan. Eventually, the confidence started growing bit by bit, and towards the end of the season, they were the loudest team, playing. So that sparked something in me. I'm like, well, if we could get this started early on, why not bring it to the barbershop? So by the time they get to 7th, 8th, or not even 9th grade, it's all natural for them to be able to just speak up to their coaches, to their teammates, and hopefully help the team win.
Well, I know you've said that you came to the U.S. from the Philippines at 8 years old, and you were a shy kid yourself. How does that experience kind of shape the way you see these kids?
Coming from the Philippines at 8 years old, man, it was very tough. Obviously not knowing the language, not knowing it, going to a brand new school, kids judging you or trying to make fun of you for not being able to speak. So I know how kids feel, being shy, being timid, being reserved. And sometimes I gravitate towards those kids because I know what they're going through.
Okay, so walk me through what happens. A child comes in, they sit down for a haircut, and then what?
So initially, we kind of just read them exactly if they say hi or not first. We kind of gauge them, and then the consultation happens. If they're saying a few words, I'm like, all right, this is a kid that we want to try to target and be a candidate for a Books by Kids program. So we asked them, hey, would you like to get paid $3? And turn around and look like $3. I said, all you have to do is point, read a few pages or read a few sentences, even a few words. So it just depends on how old they are and the comfort level. We'll walk them through.
Well, and I'm sure that moment when they get $3 in their hands that they've earned, there's just such a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Yes, they are. Well, it's just like a stepping stone that we try to use for them to be able to be like, Let's try to build your confidence one page at a time, one book at a time. At the end of the day, man, we want teenagers to be able to speak up because in turn, they're going to be running the world eventually, all these younger generations at the end of the day.
Well, do you remember one child in particular who really maybe had a positive impact with this program?
Yes, his name is Hunter. He was about 4 or 5 years old when he first started coming into the shop, and he did not want to get a haircut at all, man. He was like moving all around the chair, getting up the chair. And one of our barbers was very, very patient with him, worked with him throughout. And, 5 years later, he had a goal in mind to save up for a drum set. So yeah, he was saving his money, all those books by kids where he was getting $3. I think it was this past Christmas that he got it. We try to tell him, all right, $1 to spend, $1 to save, and $1 to give back or pay it forward to someone else who else is in need. And there was one, he was like 8 or 9 years old and got paid $3, but he wanted to pay forward to some other kid who needed it because he was so comfortable in reading. It's like, I don't think I should be getting paid for that. I think somebody else who really need it, gets paid for that, man. That right there, man, speaks volumes of how he was raised and the outlook that he has on his life. And that right there, man, it's like a heartwarming story for us that, man, if this kid can do it, I know other kids are raised this way and want to be able to give back some way, somehow.
Do you have any advice for maybe other businesses who want to incorporate this, or for kids who are coming in for a haircut and maybe they're nervous?
Yes, for other businesses, other barbershop owners or salon owners, please adopt the program. It's just not for us, it's for everyone else to benefit from, especially the kids in your community. We could only impact so many kids in our community, but I want this to go worldwide and hopefully the shy kids who do come in and don't know what to say or what to do, a simple hello and a simple handshake goes a long way. And we want to impact as many kids as possible.
Well, thank you so much, not only for sharing with us here on the Feel Good Flyover, but also just for the difference that you're making in a child's life. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
What began with one barber's idea has now become a community effort, with neighbors donating books, cheering on the kids, and watching confidence grow one page at a time. And as he's watched those kids find their voices, he found his as well. Because in that little Pennsylvania barbershop, every story read aloud is shaping a bigger one about courage, kindness, and the power of being heard. If you want to learn more about this program, we have links in the show notes. Here are the top good news stories of the week, moments that'll lift your spirits and remind you there's still plenty of good out there. First up, a reminder that wisdom and joy don't come with an expiration date. A group of seniors from River Spring Living in the Bronx has become an unlikely social media hit, racking up nearly 2 million followers across TikTok and Instagram, with life advice, humor, and pop culture commentary. They call themselves the Old Friend Club. 8 members ages 72 to 105, launched by a UK media company to spotlight aging with purpose and personality. Their videos cover everything from dating advice to celebrity trivia and deliver sharp one-liners and hard-earned wisdom. And for many, it's more than fun. It's about connection, staying sharp, and proving there's still plenty of life left to live. For those on YouTube, take a look at this post giving advice and Monday motivation from their seniors. Lita, age 88, says, look in the mirror and like yourself. Irma, 105, says, work hard, but also have fun. Flora, aged 84, says, let things happen. Life has no timeline. Shirley, aged 85, says, be yourself. And Amy, aged 72, says, make your bucket list and check things off. Want to see more? We've got their Instagram account linked in the show notes. Next, a young man who showed incredible heart in a moment of crisis. An 18-year-old in Boca Raton, Florida, jumped into action, rescuing several people trapped in a flash flood. Thomas Ruzano had just left a movie theater when he came across waist-deep water, and stranded drivers, including an elderly man stuck in his seatbelt with water rising above his shoulders. He waded through flooded cars in a parking garage, helping at least 6 people reach safety. Rosano and others freed the man and walked him to a nearby restaurant. Thomas later credited his instincts to lessons from his dad and said he was just glad everyone was safe. Want to see the rescue video? We've got it linked in the show notes. And finally, a story that's capturing hearts for an entirely different reason. A countryside Airbnb in Nottinghamshire, England, is drawing animal lovers from around the globe with an unusual feature: a miniature Shetland pony named Basil. Guests stay in a cozy barn that shares a wall and a window with Basil's stable, giving them the chance to brush him and bond with him during their stay. Owner Brittany Sparham launched the $230 a night retreat during the pandemic. It quickly went viral and now books out a year in advance, smells and nays included. For those followers who are watching on YouTube, you can see the adorable Basil, proof that a good roommate really can be stable. Still ahead, a pilot's promise that calmed a cabin full of nervous flyers, a teen whose honesty turned into an opportunity, and a friendship that proves you're never too old to make a new best friend. But first, a word from our sponsor, Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. For 45 years, Mercy Ships has been helping to meet this need with state-of-the-art hospital ships. They provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. Mercy Ships provides life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. They bring hope to so many people with no other options. And amazingly, they do all of this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time. From surgeons to stewards, nurses to engineers, physical therapists and teachers, the all-volunteer crew give their time and talents to make the world the best place it can be. Your donation today will help provide free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. You can change a life today. Please visit mercyships.org/flyover to donate. That's mercyships.org/flyover, or just click the link in the show notes to learn more. And speaking of stories that make you smile, here are a few more moments of good news from around the world. First up, a Delta pilot earned praise for the way he handled anxious flyers during a recent trip. Before takeoff, he assured passengers the plane wouldn't move unless it was 100% safe, then added that he'd promised his daughter an ice cream date when he got home. Next, a Purple Heart medal from World War II was discovered inside an abandoned safe deposit box in Illinois. It was tracked down and returned to the soldier's family just in time for Veterans Day. Down in Australia, a 17-year-old boy stumbled upon $3,500 outside a gas station, and instead of pocketing it, he turned it in. His honesty later earned him a $1,000 reward, a job offer, and thousands of fans online. Proof that integrity still matters and good character really does pay off. And finally, during the height of the pandemic, 2 Canadian women, one 76, the other 105, began taking weekly walks together. Those simple strolls turned into a long-lasting friendship and eventually a book called Walking with Beth. Their story is a sweet reminder that connection, kindness, and conversation never go out of style. Want to see more of any of these stories? We've got them linked in the show notes. Now it's time for Amy's Altitude Check, where we let the good really sink in. You know, when I think about Jonathan Escueta from our podcast Extra Story, spotting the shy kids and encouraging them to read out loud, it's more than just a sweet gesture. He's changing lives and using his words to build confidence in kids who don't always see it in themselves, and then handing them the opportunity to build themselves up. Because when they speak those words out loud, they start to believe in themselves. It reminded me of the Toby Mac song Speak Life and his lyric, "Hope will fall like rain when you speak life with the words you say." And the amazing thing is that's true for all of us. We all have that opportunity to speak life and encourage someone. So this week, maybe it's worth asking, what kind of words am I speaking over the people in my life? That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Feel Good Flyover. Thank you so much for joining us. If today's stories reminded you of someone who's spoken life into you, maybe take a minute to tell them and share this episode with them. A simple word of thanks can travel farther than you think. I'll see you right back here next week. Until then, remember to always look for the good.